We got through those couple of weeks slow and steady. There was a couple of like, oh, are we ready yet? Not quite. They were growing, but they were growing slowly, and there's only a couple of them there. So I know everyone here was very much like, we don't want to trigger you until like it's absolutely the right time. They were so supportive. I think I was in scanned every couple of days. Like they were watching me like a hawk, making sure I was so supported. And then kind of, yeah, it got to the point where they were like, okay, we'll do the trigger, we'll get you booked in. And I was in a bit of disbelief that I'd even gotten to this point. Like I really didn't think I would. I just sort of resigned myself to the fact that, first of all, my body wasn't behaving. Second of all, I just didn't think it would happen. Um, so yeah, we got to the trigger point, and obviously that brought a whole load of other anxiety. I think I literally sat staring at the injections for nearly an hour, waiting because it's timed. You have to take it at a certain time, and I'd like sat waiting. I even left my sister's birthday dinner early so that I could sit at the box and watch the box for an hour just to be there on time and make sure I did it right. But I was so ready for it to be over now. I was kind of just, yeah, wanting it done. I wanted to know the outcome. Did all, Dr. Alex's hard work pay off? Did all those injections actually work? So I think that was a Saturday night. I took the trigger, and then the egg collection was the Monday morning, first thing. I was the first one on the schedule. And my mom brought me because you have to have someone to drive you home afterwards. And I remember the night before, like, really, I did not sleep at all. I was so nervous. I just wanted to know the outcome. It's a bit like in a weird way, Christmas morning, waiting for Santa to come and what he brought. Like, it was a weird version of that. But yeah, and I was afraid of the egg collection procedure for sure. Like I obviously know like some women feel things, some don't. It's conscious sedation. So, but I arrived in and everyone was so nice again. They got me all dressed up in the gown and the socks, and I think I was like sweating. I was so nervous. Um, but Dr. Alex came in again and he chatted to me before and double checked, well, what time did you take your trigger at? And I was like, oh, I took that one on time. I promise you that. And we went through all the consents again, just to make sure I was happy with everything. He asked me what music I wanted on, which was a nice touch. So I remember then I was brought into theatre, and the kind of like last few things I remember from it before waking up again was sat there. We, had one of the embryologists poke their lovely little heads through and confirm everything with me. And I was just, a bit nervous. I was a bit like, oh gosh, I can't believe we're here. Taylor Swift was on, which is my favorite, so I was happy. I remember Out of the Woods was playing, which I thought was very fitting. And the last thing I remember thinking was, I really hope I don't feel anything. And then I woke up, so I didn't. I took to sedation like a fish to water. I yeah don't remember a thing at all, which is probably a blessing when they are your colleagues too. But I remember afterwards feeling really, really nauseous though. I think I always have a bad reaction to any form of like anesthetic at all. And one of the nurses gave me something to help with the nausea. But I just remember being really, really tired. So thankfully, my mom brought me home. I slept. I slept the sleep of the just. I couldn't. I was so tired. I think I'd gotten myself into such a anxious state beforehand that like not sleeping and then the effects of the sedation. I just was asleep the whole day. I missed 3 calls from the lab. I felt really, really bad that I missed the 3 calls. Eventually I called back and I got through to one of the embryologists, and she told me really better news than I could have ever expected. I was really, really chuffed with the result. Like all the eggs that they got were mature and suitable for freezing. And now they're just chilling downstairs in the freezer for future, hopefully. Um, yeah, it was a bit of a whirlwind, I would say, when you look back on it all. And then the recovery was, a bit rough. I did take a bit of time off work then, just because I felt really sick after it. I think people react differently to medications. Probably I'm just very sensitive to them. um, but everyone was so supportive, and like even though it was like a little win for me, it was like a win for everyone else too, because of how happy they were for me, which is really, really nice feeling. But I was very lucky.